Arts and creative literacy. Creativity is the process of having original ideas that have value. Moreover, creativity is the ability to see the world in new ways. Therefore, creative individuals exhibit the ability to switch between different modes of thinking and shift their mental focus that suggests a connection between creativity and dynamic interaction of our in networks. Creativity begins with a foundation of knowledge, learning a discipline, and mastering a way of thinking. It can be learned by experimenting, exploring, questioning assumptions, using imagination, and synthesizing information. Developing literacies of the arts and creativity involve design of physical living environment, the emotional environment, scheduling, organization and implementation of curriculum and instruction, and attention of the body and the brain. Therefore, teachers should be empowered in developing these literacies among students with the support of the administrators, parents, and other stakeholders.
Ayman 2014 found that if a person makes a habit of the 7 practices, she will be highly creative in his/her field. Thus, those would help teachers attain highest possible level of creativity. The first one is prepare the ground. Prepare the ground. Creativity requires an absorbed mind of relaxed state of focus and attention by giving the self-sufficient time and space needed while letting the desire to create from the pleasure of creative expression and inspiration. Number 2 is plant seeds for creativity. It is important to put attention on what you want to create, not on complaints, and set an intention to produce the desired results. Number 3, live in the question. Ask questions instead of trying to find immediate answer and pay attention to questions that other people ask. Next is feed your brain. Get interested in something that later can provide your wisdom and ideas if you learn to make connections between people, places, and things that are not usually connected. Number 5, experiment and explore. Follow your curiosity, experiment with ideas, and learn from your mistakes. Therefore, the quality of your creativity will improve. Next is replenish your creative stock. You must learn to be self-nourishing and translate hobbies, talents, and skills into wonderful potentials. Number 7, liberate your creativity. Your child's place provides a clue to your creativity potentials and passions. In general, creativity takes on many forms in business, art, design, education, and science. When you experience your creativity in these domains, you have the ability to make life indeed a work of Anne Nyman 2011.
Eye-hand coordination. In most of our creative activities and endeavors, we integrate eye-hand coordination as we inhibit our usual body functioning. Eye-hand coordination, also known as hand-eye coordination, is the coordinated control of eye movement with hand movement and the process of visual input to guide the eyes. Eye-hand coordination can be observed in diverse activities, such as the movement of objects, handwriting, catching a ball, sports performance, music, reading, computer gaming, typing, and others. In short, it becomes part of the mechanism of performing everyday tasks. Without it, people would be unable to carry out even the simplest action in daily life. Hand-eye coordination or eye-hand coordination is the ability to do activities that require the simultaneous use of our hands and eyes, like an activity that uses the information our eyes perceive to guide our hands to carry out a movement. We use our eyes to direct attention to a stimulus and help the brain understand where the body is located in space. We use our hands to simultaneously carry out a determined task based on the visual information our eyes receive. Eye-hand coordination, therefore, is the ability of the vision system to coordinate the information received through the eyes to control, guide, and direct the hand in the accomplishment of a given task. It is also a complex cognitive ability as it unites visual and motor skills, allowing the hand to be guided by the visual stimulation that the eyes receive. It is the ability to do activities that require simultaneous use of hands and eyes, like an activity that uses the information that eyes perceive to guide the hands in carrying out movement. Hand-eye coordination is important for child development and academic success, which is equally important among adults to use in countless activities on daily basis. Most activities in day-to-day life use some degree of eye-hand coordination, the reason why it is really important to develop it as much as possible. Obviously, visual information is used to correct inappropriate behavior in a situation. Eye-hand coordination is a complex cognitive activity as it calls for us to unite our visual and motor skills, allowing for the hand to be guided by the visual stimulation our eyes receive. Hand-eye coordination is especially important for normal child development and academic success, but is also an important skill that adults use in countless activities on a daily basis. We use our eyes to direct attention to a stimulus and help the brain understand where the body is located in space. Reciprocally, we use our hands to simultaneously carry out a determined task based on the visual information that our eyes receive. Examples of eye-hand coordination. In writing, when making lines, the eyes send visual information to the brain to tell where the hand is placed and if the handwriting is legible. We use hand-eye coordination whenever we write. As you start making lines, our eyes send visual information to the brain to tell it where the hand is placed and if your handwriting is legible. With this information, the brain generates instructions for how the hand has to move in order to create appropriate lines and shapes, resulting in letters. Typing on keyboard. Although the types of movement are different, visual information is used to tell the brain how to guide the hand or if a mistake needs to be corrected. A similar sequence takes place when we type on a keyboard. The type of movements are different, but we still use visual information to tell the brain how to guide the hand or if a mistake needs to be corrected. When driving, it uses visual information to move the hands on the wheels, keeping the car in the middle of the lane and avoiding accidents. When you drive, you are constantly using hand-eye coordination because you have to use the visual information to move your hands on the wheel, keeping the car in the middle of the lane and avoiding accidents. In sports, in any sport, the eyes usually coordinate with the movement of some parts of the body called motor coordination. Depending on the sport, either hand-eye coordination, basketball, tennis, football, or foot-eye coordination, soccer, track, will be more dominant. Almost every sport requires the use of hand-eye coordination to coordinate what you see with your eyes with the movement of your body. Depending on the sport, either hand-eye coordination or foot-eye coordination will be more dominant. Whatever the sport, you can count on the fact that the eye will be coordinating with some part of the body. So a more appropriate term for this type of coordination will simply called motor coordination.
Problem and disorder related to poor eye-hand coordination. Hand-eye coordination is the ability to do activities that require this simultaneous use of our hands and eyes, like an activity that uses the information of our eyes perceived to guide our hands to carry out a movement. Hand-eye coordination is important. Napakahalaga talaga nito. Dahil ito yung gumagabay sa atin para makita at magawa natin ang ating mga task. Examples are in writing, drawing, and coloring. So, napakahalaga talaga nito para magawa natin ng maayos at maganda ang ating mga gawain. Another example is kapag nagdadrive ka ng motor, syempre ginagamit mo din yung hand-eye coordination mo. Dahil yun yung pag-drive is control mo yun with the use of your hand and yung eyes is ginagamit mo pantingin sa direction mo. So that is how hand-eye coordination is important. Any alteration to the visual or motor system can significantly affect hand-eye coordination, like visual or muscular problems such as strabismus, amblyopia, muscle hypotonia, balance problems, or cross-laterality. Brain damage to the motor areas or perceptive areas may also cause eye-hand coordination. Problems: poor eye-hand coordination can affect activities that may lead to developmental disorder, learning disorder in academics, professional areas, and problems with daily activities. So, yan na yung mga magiging epekto kapag may problema ka or defects ka sa hand-eye coordination. It affects your development as well as hindi ka nag-aayon natututo sa kadahilan na hindi mo na nakikita yung task at mahirap mo na din na ma-identify yung mismong image ng isang bagay at hindi mo na din na-experience kung paano gamitin ang isang bagay, kumbaga hindi na nade-develop yung skills mo. Hence, poor hand-eye coordination can have a variety of causes, but the following are the two main conditions for inadequate hand-eye coordination. Number 1, vision impairment. It is a loss of vision that makes it hard for or impossible to perform daily tasks without specialized adaptation caused by loss of visual acuity in which the eye does not see objects as clearly as usual. Yun na nga yung sinasabi kanina, kapag hindi mo nakikita yung isang bagay, hindi mo na din ito magagawa or mai-perform ng maayos. So, napakahalaga talaga ang ating mga mata para gabayan at alam natin kung anong dapat gawin or tamang proseso. Movement disorder. These are characterized by impaired body movements caused by variety of causes, such as ataxia, which is characterized by lack of coordination while performing voluntary movements, and hypertonia, a condition marked by an abnormal increase in muscle tension and a reduced ability of a muscle to stretch. So, kapag may movement disorder ka, hindi mo na rin magagawa ng maayos yung task mo, at lalo na kapag gumawa ka ng task, hindi na mahirap. For example, is painting. Syempre, kailangan maingat ka para makulay mo yun ng hindi sobra. Pero kapag may movement disorder ka, tas hindi mo na-control yung kamay mo, magiging pangit yung kalalabasan. Hindi mo na nabibigyan ng ideya ang mga tao kung ano yung painting or ginagawa mo.
Hand-eye coordination development stages. Between birth and 3 years. Between birth and high years of age, infants can accomplish the following skill and can start to develop vision that allows them to follow slowly moving objects with their eye. Begin to develop basic hand-eye skill such as reaching, grasping of objects, feeding, and dressing. Begin to recognize concept of place and direction such as up, down, in, and develop the ability to manipulate objects with fine motor skills. Between 3 and 5 years. Between 3 and 5 years of age, little children can continue to develop hand-eye coordination skills and a preference for left or right-handedness. Continue to understand and use of concept of place and direction such as up, down, under, beside. Develop the ability to climb, balance, run, gallop, jump, pull, and take stairs one at a time. And develop eye-hand body coordination, eye teaming, and depth perception. 5 to 7 years. Children between 5 and 7 years old can improve fine motor skills such as handling, writing tools, using scissors, and etc. Continue to develop climbing, balancing, running, and jumping abilities. Continue to improve hand-eye coordination and handness preferences, and learn to focus vision on school work for hour every day.
Visual literacy. In the advent of the internet, students must develop the necessary visual literacy skills to navigate the image-intense world. Therefore, visual literacy refers to interpreting and creating visual images and usually about communication and interaction. Visual literacy is the ability to read, write, and create visual images. It is a concept that relates to art and design and has much wider applications. It is about language, communication, and interaction. Visual media is a linguistic tool with which we communicate, exchange ideas, and navigate our highly visual digital world. The term was first coined in 1969 by John Davis, who was the founder of the International Visual Literacy Association. Davis explains, literacy refers to a group of vision competencies a human being can develop by seeing, having, and integrating other sensory experiences. According to Oxford Research Encyclopedia, visual literacy is the ability to interpret, negotiate, and make meaning from information presented in the form of an image, extending the meaning of literacy, which commonly signifies interpretation of a written or printed text. It is therefore based on the idea that pictures can be read and the meaning can be through a process of reading. Serafini 2017 asserted that visual literacy is a set of visual competencies or cognitive skills and strategies one needs to make sense of visual images. These visual competencies were seen as universal cognitive abilities that were used for understanding visual images regardless of the context of production, reception, and dissemination. More contemporary definitions stress that visual literacy is a contextualized social practice as much as individualized, cognitively based set of competencies. It is also a process of generating meanings in transaction with multimodal ensembles that include written text, visual images, and design elements from a variety of problems, or cross-laterality. Brain damage to the motor areas or perceptive areas may also cause eye-hand coordination problems. Poor hand-eye coordination can affect activities that may lead to developmental disorders, learning disorders related to reading, writing, and playing sports. In academics, making mistakes when they take notes, poor handwriting, or poor attention. Professional areas in typing or assembling objects, and problems with daily activities. Hence, poor hand-eye coordination can have variety of causes, but the following are two main conditions for inadequate hand-eye coordination. Number one is vision impairment. It is a loss of vision that makes it hard or impossible to perform daily tasks without specialized adaptation caused by loss of visual acuity in which the eye does not see objects as clear as usual. Number two is movement disorders. These are characterized by impairment body movements caused by a variety of causes such as ataxia, which is characterized by lack of coordination while performing voluntary movements, and hypertonia, a condition marked by an abnormal increase in muscle tension and a reduced ability of muscle to stretch.
Hello everyone, I am Navlinet Kilana and I will be discussing you about verbal creativity. So what is verbal creativity? Verbal creativity is an ability to think creatively and to measure one's fluency and flexibility and originality of a verbal form. It also has the ability to form and create new ideas and then combine them into something new, referring to the existing information, which means that creative individuals are able to generate three possible or more than solution to a problem. Ron Koss says that creativity is more important now than ever before. So, creativity, it means that when you think creatively, you are opening your heart and mind, and you are relating to people as humans. So, creativity is incredibly human thing, and is even considered as a useful and effective response to evolutionary changes. since it allows the individual to flexibly respond to the continuously changing conditions around. Next is Thorans. Thorans recognize the creativity as important for the development of a fully functioning, mentally healthy, well-educated, and vocationally successful individual. So, ang ibig sabihin nito ay it assess how creatively a person minds work. They often give to determine advanced placement. This test assess creativity and assess creative and imaginative the student is. This test is designed to identify and evaluate creativity. Scott cited that creativity-related skills can be improved by providing specific rules, techniques, or strategies to develop appropriate cognitive skills for the domain at hand. Next is Koskan. This could be realized through creative ideation, trainings, or divergent thinking exercise. Hassan, a divergent thinking is a useful concept for identifying, supporting, and measuring creativity as a process to actualize oneself. Manipulate internal and external symbols as creation of illustrative ideas based on his her knowledge senses regarding to people and objects to produce. There are four major components of divergent thinking. The first one is fluency. Fluency is the ability to generate many ideas. So it means that a creative individual typically shows the ability to produce several or alternative answers and ideas. Now let's go to flexibility. So what is flexibility? It is the ability to process information in different ways given the same stimulus, so it uses a flexible approach when logical approaches fail to produce reasonable outcomes, so the creative individual thinks of the things of the most type of responses or different types of responses. Next one is the originality. Originality is the ability to generate more ideas, so a creative individual tends to generate new ideas rather than the common ones, so it is the unusualness of the ideas. And lastly is the elaboration. Think explained that the cognitive stimulation through common or moderately creative ideas was effective in improving verbal creativity, and most importantly, stimulation effects were also apparent at the level of the brain. According to Oxford Research Encyclopedia, visual literacy is her knowledge with the ability to interpret, negotiate, and make meaning from information. Hassan presented in the form of an image extending the meaning of literacy, which commonly signifies interpretation of a written or printed text. Serafini asserted that the visual literacy is a set of visual competencies or cognitive skills and strategies one needs to make sense of visual images. Theories of visual literacy can be integrated across disciplines. Therefore, visual literacy now incorporates socio-cultural, semantic, ethical, and multimodal perspective to understand the meaning that potential of the visual and verbal ensembles encountered in social environments.
Aesthetic. According to Britannica, aesthetic is spelled aesthetics as the philosophical study of beauty and taste. So kapag sinabi natin aesthetic, it means maganda. It's about art such as paintings, drawings, or anything that we see. It is also closely related to the philosophy concerned with the nature of art and the concept of which individual works of art are interpreted and evaluated. So this include concepts such as interpretation, representation, expression, and form. So alam naman natin na most of the people cannot express their emotion or feeling, kaya ang ginagawa nila ay ini-express na nila yung emotion nila sa pamamagitan ng pag-drawing, pag-paint, which result to a beautiful art. The nature and scope of aesthetic. Aesthetic deals not only with the nature and value of arts but also with those responses to natural objects that find expression in the language of the beautiful and the ugly. The terms beautiful and ugly are too vague in application and too subjective in meaning. So almost anything might be seen as beautiful by someone or from some point of view, and different people apply the word to quite disparate objects for reasons that often seem to have little or nothing in common. It may be that there is some single underlying belief that motivates all of their judgments. It may also be, however, that the term beautiful has no sense except as the expression of an attitude, which is in turn attached by different people to quite different states of affairs. So these are the three approaches to aesthetic. It is the study of aesthetic concept or the analysis of language of criticism in which particular judgment are singled out and their logic and justification are presented. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang ganda ng arts yung nakikita, kundi yung message or interpretation ng arts sa mga tao. So, napakahalaga on how an arts will give connection to the people. Number 2, it is a philosophical study of certain states of mind, responses, attitudes, and emotions that are involved in aesthetic experience. Number 3, it is the philosophical study of the aesthetic object that reflects the view that problems of aesthetic exist because the world contains special objects towards which people react selectively as described in aesthetic terms. So, aesthetics exists because the world contains special objects. Maraming mga bagay na tinatawag na aesthetic, especially sa mga magagandang tanawin na nakikita natin everyday.
Integrating arts and creativity literacy into the curriculum. Number 1, physical environment. Design a physical environment to support creativity, such as castle design, school building, well architecturally designed edifices, roofs and ceilings. Creative morals, beautiful garden landscape, colorful blocks and benches in the math and science garden. Structured music and art studio, an atelier, student lodge, and amphitheater, etc. Number 2, emotional environment. Take time to create and maintain a climate of respect, caring, and support to someone when making mistakes. Number 3, project-based learning. Provide students time, space, and opportunity to express themselves, their ideas, emotion, and insights through design and any projects that are relevant, rigorous, and real-world to attain motivation, engagement, and learning. Number 4, teach creative thinking skills. Teach students about metacognition or thinking about their thinking, even the little ones through the process of brainstorming, reasoning, comparing and contrasting, problem solving, concept mapping, analyzing, evaluating, and more. Number 5, alternative assessment. Instead of just or an assignment, provide different authentic assessment like performance systems, design product output making, visual arts creation, task-based, project-based, portfolio, and others provided with rubrics and other forms of metrics. Number 6, scheduling. Project-based curriculum and performance-based assessment need ample time and proper scheduling in either structured or unstructured manner. Number 7, student. Centered and personalized learning provides students freedom to choose on what they will learn, how they will learn it, and how they will demonstrate what they have learned. Number 8, incorporate arts, integrate seamlessly music, arts, and drama and dance into the curriculum to develop creativity. Number 9, integration of technologies. Encourage students to utilize blogs and websites, blogsters, VoiceThread, student publishing, video game design, coding, filmmaking, photography, global collaboration, classroom project using Google Hangouts, and etc. Number 10, preparing the body and brain for creativity. Create activities that induce body-mind integration such as yoga, ballet, jazz, zumba, and calisthenics, and etc.